Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and today we are going to do one of the rectangle trays I've got. We're going to do this a little differently. You'll notice on my desk here that I have these twirly pieces. I picked these up at Michael's around Christmas time. I'd seen them and I thought there's got to be something I can do with these, and I like the fact that these have sort of the shine that they do to them. I thought there's got to be something I can do with these. They're plastic, and it was, I'm trying to think, was it buy one get one free or something like that? And I have to admit I'm a bit of a shopper when it comes to some stuff like that. Anyway, I picked up a couple of these, and what I want to do is I want to use them in one of my rectangle molds. I'm going to take these off to the side. I have already cut down some of these, and I'm going to have some leftover pieces, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So because they are like this, and they were like this at the top where they were attached, I'm not going to use them. So I had to cut out because I want them straight. I didn't want swirly on these. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these pieces. I might have to chop them up and, just mix them into something and then throw them into, I'm not really sure what. However, that's for another project, another plan, another idea at some point. What I've done is I've already cut down my pieces. As you can see here, I've got some down here along the bottom, and then I've also got some on the top. Now my measurements aren't exact here, and I'm okay with that. They're relatively close, except maybe for this one, but they're close enough that I'm totally cool with them. And I have one down here at the bottom that's a little short as well, but if I sort of balance it out, we'll be fine. And again, I'm picky, so I'll notice things like this, and I know some people will and some people won't. What am I going to use? Well, I want to use the Galactic Ghost Blue and Violet by Eye Candy, because those colors are really, the blue and the purple are sort of standing out. I don't have a purple Galactic Ghost, and as far as I know, there isn't one out. There were only specific colors they made these in. And what I want to make sure of is that I don't sort of lose, the coloring in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix up our resin. We're going to add a little bit of the gold the violet and the blue into my resin, just a little bit. I'm just going to take a sampling of it and mix it in just to see what happens. And then the idea is to pour. Now, I'm a little concerned that these might rise up because they're so light and flimsy. What I want to do is I'm going to very carefully take some UV resin and hopefully get these set in place so that there's no movement. I don't want to let my resin thicken up before I pour it over, because I really want to make sure that the resin gets, through everything that it needs to for this piece. I think it's going to look kind of cool when it's done. So I thought, well, we've got to try it. Let's see what we can do with this. Anyway, so I'm going to get some of my UV resin out, put my gloves on, put my other glasses on so I can see. Like I say, I don't want a lot. I just figure there's some spots where we can put some down just to keep them from floating up, because if they float up, then I'm going to be sitting here trying to get them down, and that'll just drive me nuts. So no point in driving me nuts. No point at all. I can do that without my artwork doing it for me. Okay, so I think I've got these spaced pretty decently. Again, it's not a huge deal if I don't. So I'll move that one over just a little bit. I just thought this might be a cool piece to have. You got to be really careful, because when you're touching these, they move way too easily. Okay, hold on a second. See, that's why I was a little concerned that if I didn't, basically nail them down, we would run into an issue of them moving when the resin gets put in. So, you know what I don't have any of? I don't have any of my paper towels available to me right this moment. I'm going to have to cut some more up. I love having them cut up in advance, and I have forgotten about it prior to, starting this video. All right, so let's just see how we can manage this. I figure if I do one spot and just sort of let it run down the side, let's see how this works for me. And I don't want it to run too far, so we'll get that in place. But yeah, I thought if I didn't do them down, then there's always the opportunity for it to rise up, and then we are in trouble. So what I'm going to do is I just wanted to show you, I'll show you a couple of, just doing spots on this. And then what I'll do is I'll carry, big air bubble, carry on. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just turn this a little bit so I can see where it's going. So I know when it's hit the, hopefully hit the silicone. I guess that's, I'm not sure that one did actually. That one did, but I'm not sure this one got down. So anyway, that's sort of the plan. Yeah, for some reason I don't think that one went down onto the silicone completely as I get my head in the way. I'm trying not to get my head in the way. Maybe what I should do is take some of this and just put it in a little container and then drizzle it. That might work better. That might work too. Putting it so it slides right down in the center of it. Just test these to make sure they're sort of set up very carefully. Yeah, that one is. That one is. I'll probably throw this under my UV light too, just to really make sure these are. I do not like air bubbles. Yeah. Okay, once I've got this one set up, I will carry on, get the rest done, and when we come back, I'll have my resin mixed up. I'm figuring I'm going to make about 140 mil to do this piece. I know a while ago when I did the other rectangle one, I was totally off on my numbers, but again, you know me, if I have too much, it's better than not having enough. All right. Okay. I will carry on. I'll get these all set up. And when we come back, we'll be ready to pour. Okay, we're back. Now, I had mentioned about doing the Galactic Ghost Violet and Blue in this piece because of the colors in these. Okay, what I did was I thought, like initially I had said, well, what we'll do is once we've made up the clear resin, we will take some of it, mix it in, and see what happens, right? Because I wanted to know how it was going to react and what I would get. And I'm now remembering what I wanted to do. I'm going to have to stop this video. I'm going to go get something. But before I do that, so I took some of the red and the blue, mixed in some UV resin, because I wanted to see what it would do. So you see how this is not clear. I was kind of hoping I would just basically get the glitter in it, and I don't. I don't want that interfering with this. What I'm going to do is I am going to stop this video. I'm going to go to my other room. I'm just going to get some glitter that we can put in the clear resin so that we don't cover up. So that this is sort of the main focal point. And then what I'll probably do is once it's sort of set up a little bit, I will then add, oh, excuse me, make up some more resin and put in the red and the violet, and then we'll pour that and have that as the bottom of the tray. Okay, so give me a moment and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I quickly ran over. I got my holographic silver. Now that may seem like an odd color to do. We're not going to put a lot of that in. We're just going to do enough to kind of give it a little bit of glitter, because I think that'll be nice without it sort of overpowering. And if it does, well, then it does, and I carry on with my life. All right, so let's get my resin. Now, I did use my debubbling machine. I am wondering if what I should be doing, I do it for 10 minutes. Like this amount I did for 10 minutes. And I find that it gets warm in that amount of time. Does that have anything to do with the debubbler? Haven't got a clue. And I just wondered if maybe I should do it in 5-minute intervals versus 10. Like one 10-minute. Because we've got the mixing time, which is usually around 5 to 8 minutes. And then if we put it in the debubbler, then we've got, another 5 to 10 minutes. And you all know that resin starts to warm up. So I'm just wondering if it would be better to do like 5 minutes in the debubbler and then another 5 minutes. Right? Just to get all the extra bubbles out. Because this is really warming up. I'm surprised how warm that is right now. Anyway, and like I said, I don't know if the machine has anything to do with that heating up, but it definitely has heated up. All right, I did get everything put down with UV resin, and I did put it under my curing lamp, my Let's Resin curing lamp. So let's get pouring this. I'm trying not to catch the edge of my mat. So I'm just going to pour it. I'm going to pour this slowly. One, because I want to sort of have time to get in and around the pieces that are in here. And try to avoid it getting bubbles down there. Now well, again, we'll see. I'm not gonna talk about bubbles anymore. So let's just get this rolling. I made approximately 140 mil. Really, really hoping this is enough. I think this is going to look cool. And different. All over the whole different thing. So what are you guys up to today? What interesting activities have you been doing? How's the weather where you are? Let me know what you're up to. If you want. I guess I should preface or put that out there. What you doing? And share with me if you want. I like the comments and I like responding to them. Now, hopefully, with doing this, like having done the UV resin first and then pouring this on with the glitter, I'm hoping it's not too obvious that I've got the UV resin on this. I'm hoping the glitter will kind of butt up against it and around it so that it's not too noticeable that we, basically glued them down. But I really didn't want to have these pieces all of a sudden, oh yeah, let's just float to the top because we can. And I guess if it, my blobs are too much for my UV resin, then that's fair and I just have to be more aware of that next time. This is kind of cool. It's very, very mesmerizing. And have any of you ever tried doing something, or have you thought about doing something like this before? It's kind of interesting because at Christmas time as well, there were some really pretty, I don't know how to explain it. I want to say feather, but not really a feather. It was in their flower department anyway, and it just is such cool looking stuff, very soft. And my only concern with buying it is putting it into the resin and having it just sort of matte the product, like just make it not nice. So as much as it's one of those things I've thought of doing, not really sure it's the way to go. So we've almost got enough of this in here. I'm just kind of going over top. I've got some, I won't say stuff sticking out, but I want to make sure that my resin at least gets to the top of all of this, while at the same time leaving space for me to put in the other. I think we pretty much got that covered, or covered as I would like it to be. So basically what we're going to do now is we're just going to leave this to let this set up a little bit. I haven't, you know, if I was going to put the heating mat under it, I really should have it over here now, and I don't. I think I'll just let this cure up by itself for, you know, a couple hours, let it get set up. And being that it's warm like it is, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I'll use my lighter to get rid of any air bubbles that do happen to come up. And we will come back once I've got the other stuff made up and we're ready to pour the base of this. But I think it looks kind of cool right now. Anyway, I'll go off and pour something else with what's left of this. And how much do I have left? I hate trying to read these clear containers. I really do. I think that says, does that say 60 or 50? I think that says 60. So 140, 60 is 120. No, 60. I did 140, 60, that's 80. 80. I tell you, don't ever ask me to do math for you. Don't ever ask. We'll see you in a little bit. All right, I'm a little out of breath. My dog had another fit. I can't seem to keep that puppy happy. Anyway, just give me a second here. I just want to get some of the resin off the mixer paddle. I swear to God, I got to find stuff that has absolutely no sound to it, just to try and keep her happy. All right, let's get that off to the side for a moment. All right, we are ready to put our next layer on here. I used, as I said, the Galactic Ghost Blue and Violet, and I actually threw in some of the Holographic Silver as well into this. So let's get this on. I made approximately 80 mils. This should more than do it. I have another piece. It's amazing. I could not believe how fast this was setting up. I only put this in the bubble remover machine for 5 minutes this time around. Just because, I don't know, I just have a feeling it's warming this resin up. Or it's, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I maybe need to. I did reach out to someone who has a YouTube channel who uses a bubble removing machine, and I have asked them if by any chance they've had issues with the heating up of the resin when they use their bubble remover. And if I get a response, I will definitely let you know. I think this is going to look cool. Alright, so there's that. So we're just gonna, I pretty much have this up to the top, and I have approximately 40 mils left. Well, 30 to 40 mils left. So we're just gonna let that set up. I don't think I need really any more in this. Like, we can put a little bit more in, but I don't think we need it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll do it. So let's get that covered up. I'll show you what else I did as I'm trying to figure out where to put that so it doesn't get stuck in anything. And I just want to make sure I don't trip over anything over here. So we'll just put that off. Now, the reason I've got this over to the edge is just to let any heat that comes off of this piece have at least some flow. Like when I have these down right on the table, there's nowhere for any heat to go. So I actually push my piece over to the edge, and then the piece, like whatever I'm covering it with, then has a bit of ventilation underneath. Hopefully that makes sense. So what else did I do? I did this piece, and I did another set of the dog paw earrings. As I said, this stuff was setting up really quickly. And again, not sure of, the ins and outs. So the rest of this I'm just going to put on here. I didn't want to risk putting this through a second time in with the debubbler. I just thought, nah, I'm not doing it. I want to know my resin's going to flow. So this won't really be as thick as what it's meant to be, but I'm okay with that. It should be close enough. I've also decided to get myself some more cups so I can just throw out cups. Oops. Because I had to, the one plastic resin cup I had, I threw it out. There was going to be no cleaning it. It just got too thick. So what my dog decides to do when she gets frustrated with me, her water dish that's up in the kitchen, it gets bashed around. So what happens? I get water all over the place. So when I went up, just before I started this video, I went up, I cleaned up the floor again, and then I came down here. I have a water dish for her down here as well, and I immediately picked it up, because it's carpet down here, and the last thing I want is her to be, throwing water all over the place down here. I love you, don't I? Yes. Anyway. So there we have it. We have our pieces done. I'm trying to think of where to put my... Oh, I still have to clean up. Anyway, that's not your problem. That is mine. Okay, so I am going to get everything cleaned up. We will come back when all this stuff is done, and we will have a look at it and see what is what. I'm just going to throw that over there for now, and then we will carry on. So I just need to get some stuff off my hands before I stop the video. Okay, we are ready to take our pieces out of their molds. Stuff off to the side. You should see the desk next to me. It's just a mess. Anyway, I clean up, and then all of a sudden it's just a mess again. It's funny, but it's not. Anyway, let's do this. I had mentioned that the resin was starting to set up as I was pouring these earrings, and I'm going to have a little bit of cleanup to do on these. But we'll just get these out. They look pretty. Okay, I'm looking forward to coming up with different colors that I can put inside these paws. Now, I do have air bubbles on this. Am I surprised by that? Absolutely not. Not in the least. it was getting thick pretty quickly. Yeah. So I'm gonna see a little bit about, especially these big air bubbles. I want to see if I can't get them filled in properly. Next we'll do this. We'll save the main piece for last, but let's see what this looks like. I put in the green and the yellow that you see in there that's kind of created a blue. I used the Ranger alcohol inks. I used Mojito and Sunshine Yellow. They're not really part of this video per se. If you're interested in, again, knowing what they are, just leave me a comment below and I'll let you know what they are. This is just a sort of a random piece. Okay, and again, this has air bubbles in it. Not surprised. Not in the least. As I say, it was setting up before I even started pouring it in and whatnot. So it's still got a little bit of give to it. So I'm just going to, I like using something other than my hands. So I use paper towels, or I have a glove on to place these, you know, just to get them flat again. This one I'm going to put on my pink glove. So this is what we look like before we've taken it out. I think this is going to look pretty cool. You'd almost think I'd put lights in this. Oh, this looks cool. Okay, so I can see where I did. Oh, that's a nice, great big air bubble right there. Holy. Yeah, big air bubble there. Okay, I'm just going to put my black glove on as well for this. Okay, so I have a huge air bubble right here. That's okay. I'll put it, and I have one over here. Now I'm sort of putting that a little bit down on having these pieces in here, so that, you know, is okay. I think some of the other, yeah, so air bubbles are occurring in and around where these pieces were laid down. So obviously the resin didn't manage to find its way underneath. Now I'm also looking at where I've put down the UV resin. I'm going to throw this under my light just because what I'm going to end up doing is I'll put a very thin coat of two-part epoxy over this just to sort of fill in any of the air bubbles, and also to hopefully kind of take away from that. And I might have to add a little bit of glitter to it so it masks over that, because these are noticeable. But again, that's, you know, that's a fixable type of thing. But I think that looks kind of cool the way this turned out. It's something different that you could, you know, play with. That's a different idea. I've got another air bubble over here, which I will fill in. For those, I will probably just use UV resin so I can get it set up properly. And I just want to kind of look along, because what I might do is I might also dome this. We'll have to see, just so that I have it all consistent, because you may not be able to see. I can still see where I put the UV resin down. Did I need to do 3 spots? I'm not sure, but I would rather have done the 3 spots than have only done 1 and then it's still lifted up. At least this way I know it was secure and when it was put down. Okay, so there we have it. I think this turned out kind of neat. It's simple, but it's got a totally different look to it. And I had almost thought about, well, what if we put a tattoo or something in there? And I thought, no, what would have been the point then of, you know, having these down? So I think that looks kind of cool. Let me see if there we go. That's a little bit better from an angle perspective. Anyway, that's it for this video. I will finish that up, just as far as, you know, putting a layer on there and some of my more than, you know, some of my my air bubbles that are in there. And yeah, we will we will carry on. So thank you for watching my videos, for coming along for the ride. Again, I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the comments I'm getting. And I also appreciate the tips that I get from you on questions I ask that I don't have the answer to, because again, not only are you helping me, but you're helping other people who take the time to go through the comments and find out information. So yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. Enjoy the rest of your day, whether that's evening, morning, or afternoon. I will see you in our next video. Take care and bye for now.